So I'm very sure you guys have played games, right? You know the value they add in people's lives, and you also know the value they rob from people's lives, right? Games do something interesting to the brain. Now, from games like Candy Crush that allow you to bide some time, all the way to games like Dota that literally steal your life, we've got a spectrum that is there for everybody. Now, the thing is, games have suddenly returned to popularity. There's a period when they were hot, and then they fell because people moved on to the app infrastructure, especially on phones. And now they've started making a resurgence. So in this video, I want to tell you 8 reasons why games are the future of apps. All of you want to build apps, right? You want to build some fancy app that does menu scanning and ordering. I'm sure you got like a bunch of ideas. The point is, I want to tell you that that's the old world. So if you're still thinking along the lines of building an app, I'm here to tell you that you should think otherwise. The first reason games have made a resurgence, or games are getting very popular now, is actually because computing power has gotten better. We've made very powerful graphics cards now, right? We have new technology like ray tracing, which can actually calculate exactly how a light bounces, which allows us to render 3D objects in almost lifelike fashion. We've got that tech now, but it took a long time and a lot of groundwork to get here. And it's not just PCs. We've managed to miniaturize these cards and put them on phones. You have very powerful phones today that are capable of running everything from mobile games like Asphalt, the racing game, all the way to actually simulating PC games, right? This was something that we never thought possible. Around 10 or 20 years ago, the difference between a mobile game and a PC game was spectacular. Like on PC, you could play Road Rash. On mobile, on the Nokia phones, you used to play Snake. The difference was insane, right? From the graphics to the gameplay, obviously you knew PC games were on another league. But today, mobile computing has gotten so good that today's games look much better than the PC games of like 5 or 6 years ago, right? And that's saying something. Now, why are mobiles even important? In India, mobiles are important because 96% of this country is purely on mobile. There's only a very small chunk of the country that has laptops or PCs. This might be strange to you because some of you might be watching this on a laptop and say, hey, everybody has a laptop. But dude, India is a very poor country, right? And most of these people do not have a laptop, but they need their phones for work, for banking, for simple stuff. Because for these guys, it's not just a gaming device, right? It's also a device to take payments, right? Via Paytm and whatnot, and actually run their businesses and their livelihoods. So every household has at least one phone, but not every household in India has a PC or a laptop. Now, phones alone aren't good enough, right? We had reasonably powerful phones for 4 or 5 years, but why now? Why has the amount of games being downloaded and played increased now? The reason for that is geo, right? Till a while ago, it was prohibitively expensive for you to download a 2 GB or a 3 GB file on your phone. It was insanely expensive. But today it happens routinely. Jio really changed the game there with their data plans. And the minute Jio came in, the Jio effect also had impacts on Airtel and Vodafone and everybody else. Now it brought a phenomenon where access to unlimited internet was very cheap and the average citizen could have it. So that really led to an incredible amount of downloads of all sorts of games. And not just games, anything that was like 2, 3, 5 GB in size was now accessible, including things like HD videos. The next thing is that more number of games are being created. And the reasons for this is because of 2 very popular engines, Unreal and Unity. Both have a free starting point, and the amount of tutorials and information available online have reached new heights, right? India is now slowly, very slowly but surely, starting to put a foothold in the gaming industry across the world. And in fact, Avalon was one of the champions of that movement. So we've seen new developers coming out who can actually make games in free engines like Unreal and Unity. And many of these people are going on to either join companies or actually build their own studios, because this has coincided with the startup movement in India, right? The startup boom in India. So everybody wants to build their own game, and these people are putting out really cool stuff that you can play both on the PC as well as on mobile. And look, you can't discount the fact that games are really fun. They're visual, they're more interesting than a boring app. Like, what would you rather do, right? As a young kid, would you rather like chat with your friends, which I'm sure you do often, or would you rather like be in an environment and like interact with your friends and play Among Us with them? Now, you might answer this differently, but the data says that people would rather play Among Us. Sure, there's way more people chatting, but Among Us has its own place. Now, you as an 18-year-old, you're bored of chat apps. You use WhatsApp and you're done there, right? You're not going to probably download the 50th chat app. But with games, you are willing to try new stuff. Games like Among Us just rose to fame a few years ago because you can play with your friends. Because of the combination of things like engines and the combination of things like good internet with Jio, you can now play with your friends online, right? And obviously the pandemic accelerated this. It accelerated this to the point where now games are bigger than music and movies combined. They are no longer niche, they are no longer small. Games are eclipsing everything we do in the world and every interaction we have with people in the world. And look, we're humans, right? We're not attracted to data and flat screens. We do it because the flat screen allows us to interact with our friends via the flat screen. But games are more interesting because there is character development, there are new friends you can make, there are stories to be told, there are stories to be lived, there are stories to be created. And that's why games have way more value than flat screen apps. Now the next thing is that there's been a huge saturation, right? For the same reason you won't download the 50th chat app, there's just too much saturation with apps. Every sort of app that can be built has now been built. Many of them might not be popular, but everyone is able to put their ideas out. There are too many frameworks for apps, and the App Store is flooded with them. Both the Play Store and the App Store just has too many of these going on. So the opportunity for the next wave of developers isn't something new, isn't something that's in its early phases. And gaming is just right place, right time. You're going to see plenty of game developers just rise from this country. We've got lots of them. There are lots of people who are doing tutorials, who are teaching, who are industry experts. All of that is coming together. So very excited to see that play out, right? So the death of one industry, which is these apps, is leading to a new industry, which is games. And you know, people have historically thought of India as a place where you got a lot of users, but nobody pays for anything, right? And games require money to survive, right? The game developer needs to make some amount of money, otherwise he's going to go bankrupt. But the thing is, games actually do make money in India. Genshin Impact, which is not an Indian game, actually ended up making $6 million a month and becoming one of the top grossing games in the country. We did not originally think, and not just me, like all the people in the industry, including the people in game dev, never thought India has that kind of potential. So if a game now can make $72 million a year, that is now crazy. This is not $6 million across the world that they made. They made it in India, which we have never seen. These kind of revenue numbers will attract VC interest, it will attract capital, and that's what's needed to make the industry go forward. And let's not forget the big daddy in the house, the company that stole my company's name, Meta, with its new idea of the metaverse, which is something, you know, we came up with like 2 or 3 years ago, and I actually have a video of it on YouTube like from a year or two ago, right, where we were planning to build the metaverse, but realized India is not there yet. Right? It'll take a while before everyone gets like VR headsets. But because of them investing so much money and the bandwidth and the distribution they have with Facebook itself, we now have a new platform. The best businesses in the world are created on new platforms. So with VR and AR really kicking into gear, if you ever used a Quest, right, the Oculus Quest 2, you'll see that the game store is very empty. So there is new opportunity on the backs of these people. There's also opportunity in India with technology like the Geo glasses. You are in a new gold rush, right? And the tools, the shovels like Unreal and Unity are free. What is stopping you? That's it for me. Bye.